Hello YouTube, this is Bowtied Media, and today I have a review of Getter's NAPALM EP. Getter, or Tanner Petula, is back after about 2 years to bring in some kind of older sounds and sound designs with this project. Getter stated in an interview that when he started making this project, he knew that there weren't a lot of shows happening, there weren't big festivals, and Getter would often create music for that environment. But knowing that that wasn't happening in the near future, that he wanted to create something that people would just enjoy and people would just want to listen to. And that all culminated in this project, NAPALM. It's a project that I would say is a mishmash of musical motifs, ideas, and genres. Entombment starts the project off and is relatively an introduction track. Once you get through the first minute of Foley, it kind of turns into a really deep, heavy bass line that Getter brings in this kind of hit that is really, really gritty and kind of really hits your soul and is really feel it in your chest with a good sound system. It's a dark, gritty, and borderline freaky feeling that almost sounds like an audible journey of going through a haunted funhouse or a haunted house. And this idea of a haunted area is taking one step further with the next track, Bad Acid. As the name suggests, Bad Acid is a trip that has gone wrong. The journey audibly through what Getter believes to be a bad trip. There are these distorted vocals that are either really dark and overpowering or higher and feel like they're screaming. Both add to the thematic of what Getter is going for here and adds to the horrifying feeling of listening to the track. But if you thought Getter's 2-minute trip of Bad Acid wasn't enough, he continues it with Clorox, the third track. This one really does feel like a part 2 to Bad Acid, and I felt like could have just been one track. I'm not really sure why it is 2, but this one does explore a little bit more of a heavier trap beat, which extends to the rest of the project actually, and has a lot more metallic-y kind of kitchen step sounds. And the culmination of chaos is continued with the fourth track, Adhd. Although with this track, Getter opts in for a warmer feel of this Arabic kind of drum line or bass hit that kind of starts the track off and brings it into more chaos. Longtime Getter fans will absolutely love this track. It is dirty and gritty and quick and it hits hard. And yeah, if you're a big time fan of Getter, this is a track for you. The drop is actually quite versatile in terms of where it goes range-wise. It kind of goes from high to low on the turn of a dime and works quite well as a quick drop. Represent is the 6th track here, and I would consider to be a lot more modern than anything else on this project, and has a lot of influences from hip-hop. And Getter actually mentioned that this is the first time in a long time since his genre hiatus of dubstep that he actually tried to create a dubstep track. And so, again, if you are a long-time lover of Getter's music, you will love this. I'm not personally a big fan of this kind of style, but I mean, that's what Getter really is for the most part. The final track, Hole in the Boat, is a little more up my alley and is nothing like the other 5 songs on this project. While the first 5 tracks feel like old kind of rip and dip style Getter, this last one is a lot more reminiscent of his Visceral album. It's got a more trappy future bass, lighter beat to it than anything else in this project, and has that kind of unique monotone, medium to low register, almost bad quality voice that is seen a lot throughout Visceral, which why it reminds me of that album. It's that more experimental trip-hoppy style, but I think I've actually been spoiled with this song and felt like I got a little gypped considering that it felt like a cut off of the Visceral album and or a filler track when listening to the whole thing front to back. I hear this song and I'm like, this song's not the greatest. And it also doesn't really fit on the NAPALM EP because it's so different than their 5 tracks. So it just feels like this song is a lot more out of place than anything else. Even though it does fit into the Getter's discography, it doesn't feel like it fits naturally into any of the individual projects. I really did enjoy that the project was continuous, that the songs transitioned into each other very smoothly and kind of kept the sound design for the most part of where Getter was trying to go stylistically with the project. I think this EP struggles with something that I am newly denoting right now called COVID music syndrome. The idea that because people aren't DJing, they're not going to festivals, they're not in clubs, they just need to make music. And oftentimes I feel like just the need to make music rather than wanting to has created a lot more projects that are lackluster, really quickly put together, and a lot more experimental. And not that that's a bad thing, but it's a little more experimental in terms of it's a little like what they used to do, but not a whole lot like they used to do, and it doesn't really quite work out for them. It's this whole mishmash of kind of good and bad stuff that ultimately projects don't really have their way, and they don't really have a purpose rather than just being music to listen to. And these projects are often relatively short, and Napalm is a prime example of that. It's 6 songs, but only 16 minutes. The longest track is like 3.5 minutes. They're super, super short. Other projects that I think follow the similar lines here are the Party Favor album, the Isolation album, and not as much to the extreme, but something like Gray's Light EP that I had just talked about last week. Even to go along with that, Getter mentioned that ADHD is just a culmination of 3 different projects or 3 whips that he was working on that he just mashed together to create one coherent song. And I just don't like that artists are taking this approach to music rather than just wanting to let the creativity kind of flow through them. I mean, who am I to judge the creation process? But to me, it just doesn't work as well. And before I finish here, I just want to note that I am not the greatest Getter fan. I really do love his kind of chiller, more relaxed stuff like Forget It from Radical Dude and or On My Way Out from Visceral. Those kind of tracks I absolutely love, and I think they're actually some of my favorite tracks. But his rip and dip style, hard dubstep, and just chaotic sounds, not so much me. And this project is a lot of that. So take that into consideration. Because if you love Getter, I think you will enjoy this. And from what I know about music, and hopefully that's a decent amount, I think you'll enjoy this if you really like Getter. Me, personally, not so much. And with that, Getter's Napalm EP is going to get a 5. But thank you guys so much for watching. I have been Bowtied Media. Talk to me in the comments. I'd love to know what you guys think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you absolutely love this project and you're a big Getter fan? Or were you not a big Getter fan and actually loved it in that sense? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I will see you guys in another video.